This is the 17th video in Chapter 4 of Google Sketchup for Dummies, and it's about constructing gabled roofs. Let's start where we left off in the previous video. We have a little building-ish thing and sort of an eave built, so this is kind of where the roof overhang would be. And what I want to do is I want to put a gable, basically a pointy thing, this part of the roof, that kind of goes all the way back from here all the way back to there, and we'll worry about this in a little while. We don't have to worry about that right now. But what I want to do is I want to create that eave at a particular angle. Not an eave, I'm sorry. The slope of the roof at a particular slope. Because really that's how roofs work. You don't just kind of eyeball it. Roofs come in very particular slopes because of the way that they're built. They're built by creating angles, and when builders do that, they have to know what that angle should be. And that angle depends entirely on where you are, basically. If you're in Aspen, Colorado, you want a really steep roof so that the snow doesn't pile up on the roof and collapse the building. If you're in some place like California, you can get away with a more or less flat roof because you don't end up with a lot of snow piling up on top of the roof. There are other reasons for having sloped roofs or flat roofs, but they're not important right now. Okay, let's talk about creating an angle here. To do this, I need the Protractor tool. So I'm going to go up to the Tools and grab the Protractor right there. And you'll see that it looks kind of like a compass. Well, actually, it looks like a protractor. And as I hover around, it kind of changes color. Now, what I want to do is I want it to be perpendicular to the red axis, which is why it's red. You can see the red axis over here. I want to make sure that it's red when I'm over on the corner here, but it keeps kind of moving around. So what I'm going to do is get it into the color that I want it to be, and then I'm going to hold the Shift key. And when I hold Shift down, it locks it in that color. Basically, it locks it in the direction until I let go of Shift, and then it kind of goes whichever way it wants again. So again, get it going in the color I want it to be, hold down Shift, and then position where I want it to be. So I'm going to click there. So now that's the center of rotation for the guide that I'm going to create with this protractor. I'm going to click here to say that's my 0. And then I'm going to come up and I'm going to say that I'd like this roof to be at, I don't know, 30 degrees. So I'm going to type in 30. Look down in the lower right corner of the screen right now and you'll see where it says angle 30. I'm going to hit enter. And now what I've done is I've created a guide that's at exactly 30 degrees to the flat part of this roof. Let's actually do that again because I think it's probably worth repeating. Let's do it from the other corner this time. I'm going to be hovering around with this Protractor tool, which I got from the Tools menu. I'm going to hit Shift when it's in the direction that I want it to be in. I'm going to click to establish the center on the side, click here, and then click up anywhere I want, and then type in the angle that I want that to be. So right now it's at 45 degrees. Let's say I'd like it to be at 22.5 degrees, which would be half that, and hit enter. And now that guide, that angled line, is at exactly 22.5 degrees from this edge on the roof. Okay, once I've got that, this is cake. So I'm going to take the line tool right there. I'm going to find the midpoint on this edge right here. You can see that that's light blue for midpoint. I'm going to click there and then draw. Watch how see how this is changing color? I want to be absolutely sure that it's blue because I want to be going straight up. So I'm going to watch for the blue to tell me that it's parallel to the blue axis. I'm going to come up in the blue, click when I hit the guide that I drew, and then I'm going to click down along the guide right to the corner of the roof, just like that. Let's repeat that edge on the other side. Click from there to there, and then I'm going to use the eraser to erase the center line and erase that guide, just like that. And then I'm just going to use the push-pull tool to go ahead and push this all the way back. And when I do that, notice I end up with kind of an opening on the end. Well, that's no big deal. I can just use the line tool to retrace one of those edges, and I end up with a nice easy opening, closed end of the roof, just like that. Okay. Other problem is that when I pulled that thing, I sort of pulled it inside out, meaning that's why this face is purple and that face is purple and this is purple and that's white. If I don't want those to be purple, I'm just going to click on them to select all of them like that, holding the Shift key, and then I'm going to right click and say reverse faces. And when I reverse the faces like that, now everything's kind of one color and it's a whole lot neater. At this point I can use the eraser to kind of erase this end if I want to, or I could go in and put kind of a more complex gabled end on the end of this roof, but I'm not going to worry about that in this video because it takes a little while and it's boring to watch, and it's going to depend on the kind of roof that you have anyway. But that is the basic, easy way to make a sloped, gabled roof on the building that you're working on. That's the end of the 17th video in Chapter 4 of SketchUp for Dummies.